Hey guys, this is Rudy Stankwitz. Welcome to Friday. It's the Talking Pools podcast. I'm happy that you guys are checking in with us. I love this opportunity to chat. I've got a couple of things going on outside the norm that I wanted to mention just because I'm a little bit excited about it. One, we talked about this a little bit the other week briefly, but I did take on the role of associate producer in a horror movie written by Drew Fortier, starring Hannah Fierman. I'm excited about it. There's a trailer out for it. It's called Bunker Heights. Take a look at it. Let me know your thoughts. Bunker Heights, again, that's the name of it. It's a horror comedy, but it's got a lot of names in it you might recognize from other independent films. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I did, some of you know, I did write a psychological thriller a few years ago. Well, I've pulled that and I'm rewriting it as a second edition and it's almost complete. So within the next few months, I should be rolling that out as well. Same characters, same gist of the story, but new and exciting things going on in their lives. I think you'll love it. And that one's called Blades of Glass. And you can get that on Amazon, Blades of Glass. So I have Bunker Heights, the movie, trailers available on YouTube. Check it out. Blades of Glass, rewriting that. Available by the end of the year. I know you guys know I'm a horror fanatic, a horror addict. I love scary movies. If you do as well, check those things out. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your opinion.
With today's tragic events fresh in our minds, I promise, I swear, to keep Samuel Pankhurst's vision alive. We are all here. We are all here for the same reasons. We are all here for the same hopes and dreams for our city. But we are all here. And that is what's most important. You can bet your bottom dollar, I swear, we will bring Bunker Heights back to its full potential. We will bring Bunker Heights back to its glory days. I swear on God's green earth, we will bring Bunker Heights back.
I feel like a record player. Feel like I keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. Send this to a gardener if you know a gardener. Listen up here, gardener. Listen up here, gardener. If you make a mess in the pool because you're using a blower to blow the debris, to clean the backyard, you should be carrying a net and a pole with you to pick up the debris that falls in the pool. It is your responsibility to clean up after yourself. If you make the mess, clean it up. Plain and simple. We don't go and throw the debris from the pump basket or the skimmer basket in the grass or make a mess like that. So please, pretty please, clean up after yourself. Rant for the day. Gardeners.
Tip of the day is brought to you by Coachella Valley Pools of Instagram.
Why have less nickel when you can have more? If you're looking for longevity, efficiency, and strength, Raypak's Avia with NITEC might be for you. NITEC is Raypak's exclusive solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to Cupro nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation, erosion, without compromising on thermal efficiency. Dive into the details at raypak.com/NITEC. Again, that's raypak.com/NITEC.
Think of AOP, otherwise known as Advanced Oxidation Process, as a method that boosts the level of oxidation offered. This can be done by simply adding a dose of hydrogen peroxide to the mix or by using a combination of both UV and ozone, which besides generating the hydroxyl radical OH, it will create the peroxide we need. Oddly enough, peroxide on its own is not super effective at all. The hydroxyl radical is the result of the dissociation of hydrogen peroxide with the formula H2O2. The product is the neutral form of hydroxide. Although short-lived, The hydroxyl radical decomposes organics and inorganics by breaking apart or cracking the bonds that hold these molecules together. UV has enough energy to begin the decomposition of ozone, known as UV photolysis, which, when in water, which results in hydroxyl radical formation and the formation of hydrogen peroxide. Moreover, the O3 UV method is by far the best means of generating hydroxyl radicals, but struggles to produce large quantities due to the low solubility of O3 in water. However, this method basically fell from grace due to cost in comparison to peroxone or UV/H2O2. But, with recent advances in technology, we may again see the ozone UV systems also take their place back on the playing field. Ozone/hydrogen peroxide is the iron horse of hydroxyl radical generation in advanced oxidation. Sometimes called peroxone, the H2O2 injection O3 method is the most popular and most widely accepted by regulatory agencies. Extensive field testing has provided a proven track record. Consequently, the peroxide ozone method is much more cost-effective in hydroxyl radical generation than the less popular O3 UV systems. UV light dissociation of H2O2 is probably the most used method of hydroxyl radical generation at the moment. This is due primarily to ultraviolet light growing popularity in remediation fecal-related waterborne protozoa such as Cryptosporidium and Giardia. A huge benefit is the ability of the H2O2 UV process to generate large amounts of hydroxyl radicals. On the other hand, this requires a heck of a lot more hydrogen peroxide than the peroxone process. We already know in ozone UV systems that the UV photolysis of ozone leads to the formation of H2O2 and the hydroxyl radical. By adding additional peroxide, we can augment our hydroxyl radical generation. However, the process is cost-prohibitive in comparison to both H2O2 ozone and H2O2 UV.
I want to take a dip into pH, the measurement of hydrogen ion activity. The lower the pH, the greater the hydrogen ion activity. The higher the pH, the lower the hydrogen ion activity. Power of hydrogen. That's what it stands for. pH scale created by Søren Sørensen at the Carlsberg Foundation. They referred to it as power of hydrogen, being that's where it was created. Then I think that's what we should roll with. I know a bunch of folks have a lot of other definitions for what the pH could stand for, but as it was created there, that's what we got. So that's what it is. We know that maintaining water balance is vital in pool care. One of the most critical aspects of water balance is maintaining a proper pH. As a pool service technician, understanding how buffers and pKa values work can significantly enhance your ability to keep pools in optimal condition. So that's what I want to talk about today. Concepts of pH, pH buffers, pKa values, what they mean, and hopefully provide you with some new tools that you can utilize in maintaining water chemistry. Like we said, pH stands for power of hydrogen. It measures the acidity or base of a solution. The pH scale goes from 0 to 14. On that scale, 7 is neutral. In the pool industry, we only deal with a very small portion of that scale. Our acceptable range is 7.2 to 7.8. Unless you're in Florida, because they changed it. Florida, the acceptable range is 7.0 to 7.8. It's Florida. The ideal range in any state, 7.4 to 7.6. Anything less than 7.0, acidic. Anything greater than 7.0, basic. Understanding the pH scale is essential for anyone working with swimming pools. Maintaining the pH in a swimming pool is important for several reasons. First and foremost, the comfort level of the swimmers. Swimmers, bathers, recreational reasons. We want the people who get in the water to be comfortable. Too high, too low can cause skin or eye irritation. The pH level can also impact the longevity of your equipment. It affects your saturation index. A higher pH level doesn't promote, but provides an environment more conducive to algae growth. The types of algae that we deal with in swimming pools prefer a higher pH. So one of the easiest preventative measures against algae, not for chlorine effectiveness, although we can talk about that too, but the algae itself actually just prefers a higher pH. So go with the lower pH. Create an environment that it doesn't like. We also spoke about how a higher pH can result in the loss of chlorine. Hypochlorous acid has a strong bond with cyanuric acid. Hypochlorite ions do not. The lower the pH, the more effective the chlorine. That means the greater the level of hypochlorous acid we have. The higher the pH, the less effective the chlorine, meaning we have a greater level of hypochlorite ions. Hypochlorite ions do not have the same relationship with cyanuric acid that hypochlorous acid does. It tends to peel away. And when that happens, it can easily be burnt off by the sun's UV rays. Is it a significant amount? I think it's enough to mention. pH buffer is a solution that resists changes in pH when small amounts of an acid or a base are added. A buffer is made up of a weak acid and its conjugate base. For example, a bicarbonate buffer, bicarb, carbonic acid, weak acid, conjugate base. The benefit of a buffer to us is it helps to maintain a stable pH in the pool water, preventing a downward or upward drift. Buffers work by neutralizing added acids or bases. For example, a buffer solution that contains a weak acid and its conjugate base, an added acid reacts with the conjugate base to form a weak acid, minimizing the pH change. Conversely, when a base is added, it reacts with the weak acid to form water and a conjugate base, again, minimizing the pH change. The ability to neutralize both acids and bases makes buffers incredibly useful in maintaining a stable pH. In swimming pools, bicarbonate buffers are common buffers that help prevent a downward drift in pH. They do also help to prevent an upward drift, but they do their best job, bicarbonate buffers, at preventing a downward drift in pH. To increase the total alkalinity when we need to, sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, that's the most popular chemical we use. If we see that we're experiencing pH bounce, then we might want to increase the total alkalinity to prevent that or deaden the impact on it. What is pH bounce? Basically, what that means is something that should affect the pH only a little bit affects it drastically. For example, if your pH is at 7.5 and a rain comes through, all rain is acidic. Not acid rain, that's super acidic, totally different thing. But if a rain comes through that's acidic and your pH plummets from 7.5 to 7.0, that's what we would call a bounce. That's a lot more significant than it should plummet. So we would increase the total alkalinity to deaden the impact. Yes, your pH probably will still drop with the rain that comes through, but instead of 7.5 to 7.0, maybe it will go from 7.5 to 7.3. That's the benefit of a buffer. pKa is often referred to as the perfect pH, pKa value. It's a logarithmic measure of the acid dissociation constant of a solution. It provides insight to the strength of an acid in solution. pKa value indicates the pH at which half of the acid molecules are dissociated or ionized and half are undissociated in their original form. In other words, it's a measure of how easily an acid donates a hydrogen ion in a solution. pH of a buffer solution is related to its pKa value through the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. pH equals pKa plus log of conjugate base over the weak acid. The Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, if used, can help the pool technicians understand how to adjust the pH by manipulating the components of the buffer system. By knowing the pKa of the buffer, technicians can predict how the buffer will behave at different pH values. Therefore, they can make informed decisions about how to adjust the water chemistry. Some people call the pKa value the perfect pH. That's the point where you have just as much of the conjugate base as you do of the weak acid. A bicarbonate buffer system, the pKa value is 6.1. That's the perfect pH. We have just as much bicarbonate as we have carbonic acid. It works best in a one-up, one-down scenario. So a bicarb buffer system with a pKa of 6.1 works best from a pH of 5.1 to 7.1. That works great for our needs because our acceptable range for pH is 7.2 to 7.8. So as the pH starts to move toward 7.1, it takes more and more acid to make smaller movements because of the buffer we have in place.
Imagine you are riding a bicycle down a straight road with no incline whatsoever. Picture in your mind the amount of effort it takes to move down that street. Now, imagine the same scenario, but suddenly the road goes up a hill. That hill is a buffer. It will take more effort to move down that street than it did when there was no hill. The higher the hill, the greater the incline, the stronger the buffer, and the more effort it takes to move down that street. That hill is similar in function to a pH buffer. It won't stop the pH from moving, but it will require much more of an acid or a base to make it happen, causing it to remain close to its starting position for a longer period of time.
Knowing the pKa value of a buffering system or buffering agent allows pool technicians to predict how the buffer will behave at different pH values or levels. For instance, if the pH of the pool water is close to the pKa value of the buffer will be most effective at maintaining a stable pH. This knowledge is crucial for selecting the right buffers to use. Again, bicarb buffer works best at preventing a downward drift in pH. Cyanuric acid also serves as a buffer against a downward drift in pH. If we wanted to establish a buffer against an upward drift in pH, borates would be the solution there. A bicarbonate buffer system works by neutralizing the acid. It changes it into something that's not acidic, and in the process, it uses some of itself up. So imagine you had a fort and you wanted to protect your fort. So a smart thing to do would be to establish a strong front line several miles out. That's your bicarb. As the hydrogen ions come to attack, the bicarb neutralizes as many of them as it possibly can, but unfortunately we lose some lives in the process as well. Some of the hydrogen ions do make its way through, but not as many as if we didn't have as strong a front line of bicarb. If we wanted to prevent even more hydrogen ions from getting through, the answer is simple. We reinforce that front line. We go with a higher total alkalinity. So again, in swimming pools with pH, the acceptable range is 7.2 to 7.8. And again, the pKa value of a bicarbonate buffer is 6.1. And then looking at it one up, one down, it does its best job buffering from 5.1 to 7.1. I mentioned preventing an upward drift in pH. Borates work a little bit differently. They don't use themselves up as they neutralize compounds. Boric acid neutralizes a strong base like sodium hydroxide by taking a hydroxyl ion and becoming tetrahydroxyborate. We also see the possibility of several other borate species existing within those same ranges as a conjugate base. That's because boric acid kind of breaks the buffer rules by taking instead of giving. It doesn't donate a proton. So when we add a weak acid to pool water, an amount of conjugate base, which is also weak, forms. For example, we know that a lot of large facilities use CO2, carbon dioxide, for pH control. This works because upon the injection of the CO2 becomes carbonic acid, which is a weak acid. The carbonic acid then donates a hydrogen ion. That hydrogen ion then contributes to the hydrogen ion level of water, dropping the pH. But carbonic acid, which is H2CO3, when it loses a hydrogen ion, becomes HCO3. So that dose of carbon dioxide is the only means of lowering the pH that will actually increase the total alkalinity. But it's a perfect example of a weak acid and a conjugate base. Bicarbonate ions are the conjugate base of carbonic acid. Let's say muriatic acid is added to the water where we've established our bicarbonate buffer system. Muriatic acid is HCl, hydrochloric acid. The bicarbonate ion base, HCO3, accepts a hydrogen ion, a proton, becoming carbonic acid, H, which is simply bicarbonate plus a hydrogen ion that came from the hydrochloric acid. Because when you add muriatic acid to water, HCl, that dissociates into a hydrogen ion and then chloride. pKa value for borate, 9.1. And again, in a one up, one down scenario, that means that a borate buffer system will do its best job buffering from 8.1 to 10.1, which also works out great for what we do because our acceptable range is 7.2 to 7.8. So as your pH tends to climb toward 8.1, it gets harder and harder for it to increase. It takes more base to increase than if the buffer system wasn't there, the bicarb, or rather in this case, the borate buffer system. So by maintaining a cyanuric acid level of 30 to 50 parts per million, a total alkalinity of 90 parts per million, and establishing a borate buffer, we can pretty much, and I hate to use the word lock because nothing's ever really locked, but we can lock the pH in place, just meaning that it makes it harder for it to drift downward or harder for it to drift upward. It takes a lot more of whatever the acid is to lower it than it would have without it. It takes a lot more of the base that it would have taken if there wasn't a buffer system in place. So it makes it harder for it to move, which buys you a lot more time. And in buying you a lot more time, that means it can stretch out your current supply of chemical. It won't take as much effort from you adjusting the pH over time. or as much chemical doing so. So buffer capacity refers to the amount of acid or base a buffer can neutralize before pH begins to change significantly. To calculate buffer capacity, a pool technician can determine the concentrations of weak acid and its conjugate base, and use the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation to find the ratio of conjugate base to weak acid. By understanding the buffer capacity, technicians can better manage the water chemistry and prevent pH-related issues. Something affects the pH drastically that should really only affect it a little bit. This can be caused by a low total alkalinity, if you see a significant drop in pH, or inadequate buffering. And again, that pH drift drastically in either direction we often call pH bounce. So to solve that, increasing the total alkalinity by adding sodium bicarbonate will increase the buffering capacity. Increasing the buffering capacity helps to stabilize the pH. Regular monitoring of pH and total alkalinity helps to prevent these issues. So understanding the pH and its importance in pool water chemistry is crucial for maintaining comfortable swimming conditions. pH buffers, such as sodium bicarbonate or borate or cyanuric acid, help stabilize the pH levels. The perfect setup, again, cyanuric acid level between 30 to 50 parts per million, total alkalinity at 90 parts per million, borate level at 50 parts per million. That will come as close to locking something in place as you possibly can be. Now that said, sometimes we deal with a pH that continually drifts upward. It could be due to a salt cell, inside of which hydrogen gas constantly bubbling off, the turbulence causing the aqueous CO2 in solution to outgas, which results in an increase in pH. It could be a water feature, a spillover, a fountain, what have you. In that scenario, the best thing to do is to go with a lower target total alkalinity, because we're going up. I'm not worried about the pH dropping downward. Remember, a bicarb buffer prevents a downward drift in pH. If my pool has a pH that's constantly drifting upward, I don't need as strong a bicarbonate buffer system. So I'm going to lower my target total alkalinity to 60 parts per million. The reason I'm going to go with 60 parts per million, keep in mind what we said. Now we have turbulence going on. Turbulence causes the aqueous carbon dioxide in solution to outgas. At 60 parts per million total alkalinity, CO2 dissolves in water easier. Because it dissolves more easily in water, it means it makes it harder for it to outgas, which means it will buy you more time. It will take longer for that pH increase to occur because of whatever the form of turbulence, whether inside the salt cell, a spillover, or a fountain, or what have you. On top of that, establish your borate level of 50 parts per million. Now you'll have your borate buffer in place as well, and you'll be giving an increase in pH, a 1-2 punch that really kicks its ass and helps to keep it in place. Okay, back to what we were talking about with pKa values. pKa value of a buffer indicates its effectiveness at a specific pH range. This helps a technician choose which buffer, if not both, they want to focus on establishing. The key here is that we work with science, not against it. There are things we can do to keep the pH from moving about. And truth be told, wouldn't you rather have pools where you didn't have to worry about the pH so much? I know I would.
Jack's Magic Products is your industry leader in identifying, removing, and preventing stains. How? With a range of high-performance, eco-friendly products, keeping pools safe, clean, and ready to use all year round. The Jack's Magic 3-step program is a quick and effective way to remove stains and scaling. First, we identify the problem, then our top-quality products will remove the discoloration. Finally, our preventative solutions will keep your pool looking like new for much longer. Get helpful tips and check out our product catalog today at jacksmagic.com.
Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Perfect toss.
Pool Magazine is the hottest new publication for the pool and spa industry, featuring up-to-the-minute news on what's happening in the pool world in a fresh new stylized format with our mobile-friendly app. Pool Magazine is the app for keeping your fingers on the pulse of the pool industry. You'll find featured news, editorials, podcasts, videos, and more on the Pool Magazine app. Download on Google Play and the App Store.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable, and these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with a pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleanings faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
That is amazing. I could actually go out and make money doing filter cleans if they were like this. If they were Aquastar filters out there, then I could be a filter cleaner girl.
We can do that. Make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Todd? Love it. There you go. Awesome. Thank you, Jules the Pool Girl. Again, Aquastar Pool Products, pipeline filters. Super easy, right?
Super easy.
I want to talk about your pricing, not the pricing that you charge. I want to talk about the pricing that you pay. When you go to the distribution center, whoever it is, whichever branch, whatever company, doesn't matter. You need to be able to negotiate to get the best pricing. Don't just accept what you're first given. This is your business. The better your price, the more profitable your company. Keep that in mind. You need to cut corners where you can cut corners. And if you can negotiate better pricing for the products, for your tablets, for your shock, for your acid, for whatever, then you should do it. And I want to go through how, at least one method of doing it, something that's worked for me. Because realistically, running a small service-based pool service company requires a strategic approach to every aspect of that business, from managing clients to ensuring the highest quality of service. And one crucial aspect, negotiating pricing on wholesale swimming pool supplies, equipments, and chemicals. Even if your business does not do a large volume, effective negotiation with wholesale distributors can drastically affect your bottom line. Being able to do that will help you maintain competitive pricing and increase your profitability. But before you take step one, it's essential that you have a comprehensive understanding of your business and of the market. This includes knowing your annual consumption of pool supplies, the frequency of your orders, and your payment history. Additionally, you want to familiarize yourself with the market prices of the items that you need, keeping track of fluctuations and trends. Having this information available at your fingertips, you'll be better able to present your case to that distributor. Building a strong, long-lasting relationship with distribution is the cornerstone to successful negotiation. Begin by identifying key personnel at the distributor and work on building your relationship with those individuals. All of the distributors have events, vendor events, different things that go on that they do at their buildings. Attend those. Go to trade shows. Look for your distributors there. Stop in, say hello. Networking in these environments can create opportunities for informal discussions that might lead to better pricing and terms. Remember, people are more likely to offer favorable deals to people they already know and trust. Every business has a unique selling proposition that sets it apart from competitors. Identify what makes your company different, what makes your company unique, and leverage this in your negotiations. Whether it's exceptional customer service, innovative service offerings, a strong local presence, your unique selling proposition can make you more attractive to distributors. Highlight how a partnership with your company can benefit the distributor. Even if your order volume is small, preparation is key to a successful negotiation. Start by setting clear objectives for what you want to achieve. This could include specific price reductions, extended payment terms, or additional services. Gather all the necessary, including your order history, payment records, and market research. Look at the pricing from other distributors within your reach. There's no reason you can't use a lower price from one of the other distributors to bargain to get better pricing at the distributor you currently shop at. Develop your negotiation plan. something that outlines your opening offer, your ideal outcome, and your walkaway point. Practice your negotiation pitch. Anticipate possible objections and prepare counter arguments. During the negotiation, several techniques can help you achieve the best possible outcome. Begin with a positive and collaborative approach. Express your desire for a mutually beneficial partnership. Use the information you've gathered to back up your requests. Present your data. Give them examples to support your case. Be prepared to make concessions, but also know your limits. Use silence strategically. After making a request, pause. Give the distributor time to consider your proposal. This can create pressure and lead to more favorable terms. A successful negotiation hinges on highlighting mutual benefits. Show the distributor how offering you better pricing or terms can benefit them. For example, you could propose increased loyalty, committing to buy exclusively from them. Emphasize your reliability as a customer with timely payments and consistent orders. By focusing on the value you bring to the distributor, you make it easier for them to offer you better pricing. If the distributor is hesitant to lower their pricing, explore alternative deals that can add value to your business. This could be extended credit terms, discounts on bulk purchases, or free delivery, freight on board. Some distributors might even offer training for your staff or promotional support for your business. Be creative in finding solutions that can compensate for higher prices while still benefiting your bottom line. One way to negotiate better pricing is through volume discounts or group buying. If your business cannot achieve the required volume alone, consider partnering with other local pool service companies. Place joint orders. This can increase your bargaining power and help secure lower pricing. Many distributors offer significant discounts for bulk purchases, so pooling resources with other businesses can be a win-win. Long-term contracts can provide stability for both your business and the distributor. By committing to purchase certain quantities of supplies over an extended period, you can often negotiate better pricing, better terms. These contracts provide distributors with predictable revenue, making them more likely to offer favorable deals. Ensure that the contract terms are flexible enough to accommodate changes in your business needs. Staying informed about industry trends, that gives you an edge in negotiations. Subscribe to industry publications. There's a lot of magazines out there. There's a lot of podcasts out there. Join professional associations. Join my virtual IPSA group. Participate in online forums. Understanding trends such as new technologies, regulatory changes, and market shifts can help you anticipate changes in supply and demand. This knowledge can be a valuable bargaining tool when negotiating with distributors. Not all distribution centers are created equal. Evaluate potential distributors based on their pricing, terms, product range, and customer service. Request quotes from multiple distributors and compare them carefully. Don't be afraid to negotiate with several distributors simultaneously to find the best deal. Remember, your goal is to find a distributor who offers you the best overall value, not just the lowest prices. Successful negotiations possess a certain mindset. Approach negotiations with confidence. Know your worth. Know the value that you bring to the table. Be patient, but be persistent. Understanding that negotiation is a process, cultivate a win-win attitude. Seek solutions that benefit both parties. Finally, always remain professional and respectful. Maintain a positive relationship with the distributor no matter how this goes. Once you've reached an agreement, follow up to ensure that all terms are clearly documented and understood. Maintain regular communication with the distributor to address any issues that may arise. Keep track of your purchases and monitor whether the distributor is meeting the agreed upon terms. If problems occur, address them promptly and professionally to maintain a good relationship. Negotiation is a skill that can always be improved. After each negotiation, take time to reflect on what went well and on what could have went better. You could consider taking formal negotiation training or attend workshops to further hone your skills. The better you become at negotiation, the more you can benefit your business. Learning from real life examples can provide valuable insights and inspiration. Understanding the legal aspects of contracts and negotiations is crucial. A strong brand and reputation can enhance your bargaining power. Focus on building positive reputation in the industry by providing excellent service, maintaining high standards, and engaging in ethical business practices. Distributors are more likely to offer better terms, to companies that are well regarded and trusted. Invest in marketing and branding efforts to establish your business as a leader in the pool service industry in that market. Leverage technology to enhance your negotiation process. Use software tools to track your inventory, orders, and payments. Analyze data to identify patterns and trends that could support your negotiation strategy. Online communication platforms can facilitate more efficient discussions with distributors. Staying up to date with technological advancements can give you that competitive edge. Customer feedback can be a powerful tool in negotiations. Gather testimonials and case studies from satisfied customers to demonstrate the value of your service. Provide feedback that can reinforce your position as a valuable partner to that distributor. Additionally, customer feedback can highlight those areas where you might negotiate for better supplies or services to meet client needs. Negotiating the best pricing on wholesale swimming pool supplies requires preparation, strategy, and a focus on building mutually beneficial relationships. By following some of the things we just spoke about, you can enhance your negotiation skills and achieve better deals, regardless of your business size. Remember, negotiation is an ongoing process, and continuous improvement is key to long-term success. Take the knowledge you've gained and apply it to your next negotiation. Watch your business thrive because of it. As a service-based small business, a swimming pool service company, professional, entrepreneur, negotiating the best pricing on wholesale swimming pool supplies is vital. You can go out there and get the best pricing possible in a world where all the pricing seems to always want to go up. That said, if you like the episode, give us a review, give us 5 stars, share us with a friend. And until next time, be good and be safe. Hey, pool pros, I got some news for you. The Talking Pools podcast is thrilled to have all of our apparel products by Revved Up Apparel. Our team looks sharp. We're ready to dive into every episode thanks to their top-notch gear. Want gear like us? Want to wear Talking Pools podcast gear? Head to RevvedUpApparel.com. Want your own gear for your service teams? Want to look sharp out in the field? Look, it's all about first impressions, and these garments kick ass. Go to RevvedUpApparel.com, or better yet, pick up the phone, call them at 904-860-2586 and say, I want my fucking shirt. Tell them Rudy sent you. Again, 904-860-2586. Tell them, I want my Talking Pools podcast shirt, or I want shirts for my team. One or the other. Pick up the phone. Do it now. 904-860-2586. Don't miss out. Revved Up Apparel has you covered.